are you doing?
I'm playing with it, Mum.
Put that down!
That's my toy.
That's dangerous! Please, put that down!
No.
Put it down now! Give it to me! Give it to me!
No.
Stop, I'm gonna call your dad! Give it to me now! Do you know how dangerous this is? You could have seriously hurt yourself. Why'd you never listen to me? Why does it take bringing up your dad for you to listen to me? You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm just trying to keep you safe. What kind of a child behaves like that? You should be ashamed of yourself. When are you gonna learn?
Momo.
The Nepalese dish, right?
Yes, and do you know its elder brother?
Elder brother? What do you mean?
Dumplings.
They're Cantonese, they're completely different.
They both look the same.
Yeah, but they're not brothers and sisters. What are you going on about?
And to add to my confusion, there is their cousin brother called Wazil? Wuzi? Wuzu?
Do you mean gyoza?
Yes. I always get confused with all three of them. They all look the same. Where I come from, it's called momos. Anyways, is it set up?
Yeah, we're set up, but we're not rolling right now.
That's fine. We can practice.
Okay.
Shall we start?
Yeah.
Perfect. So, always take more water than rice. Usually, twice the amount of rice. But first, drain the water. Later on, when we drain the water,
Oh my God.
what happens?
I'm so glad you mentioned we drain the water. You know, I had a friend ask me how to make rice, and we always drain the water. It's an important part for us.
Yes, it's an important part. The pan, which is what we throw away, is then used for other purposes.
Like what?
Sometimes my parents would use it to clean my white school shirt. Somehow it was always dirty. But that's what the destitutes would beg for.
Destitutes?
Yes. These were called destitutes during the Bengal famine. They were humans just like us. Mostly Muslims from Bengal countryside, Harinpur, Vikrampur and Munchiganj. But a lot of Hindus as well. From Midnapur in southwest Bengal. They were called destitutes during the Bengal famine. They would beg for pan in the streets of Dhaka or Calcutta. No, not yet.
What do you mean
The amount of water, because that's always a point of contention.
Okay.
So, the water, usually twice the amount of rice. But first, we'll drain the water.
Until the water is clear.
Yes.
And then we repeat the process. I feel like the narrative needs to make progress at some point. Take the audience through the story of the time.
Before we decide how we want to do it, let's perhaps decide how we don't want to do this.
Alright.
I definitely don't want this to be about Churchill or Linglitga or Weber. It's a white man's story every time it's told. Do you remember the 1997 documentary? A well-made one actually. They called it The Forgotten Famine. I often wonder, who has forgotten it? We? We certainly haven't forgotten it. Who was it made for? And what's the point of making it? Making the British feel generosity for us? Pity for themselves? To show how bad Linlithgow was? Or how worse was Churchill compared to him? Or how good Wavell was compared to both of them? I'm tired of this shit. I want to tell a story how it happened for us, for you and me, and nobody else.
So, how did it happen for us?
I don't know. I'm trying to find out.
And where do we start?
Perhaps by thinking about it in a shared way. Maybe not a history of India or a history of Bangladesh, but a history of Bengali people. People who wrote songs, people who shared rice fields and rivers for centuries.
Songs. Should we start with a song then?
Sure. Sure. How about this one? It's about Ganga.
ভেবেছিলেন এগিয়েছি যে অনেক বয়ে বাসনা মোর একের পরে এক। মনে হঠাৎ যেন আজ হলো খেয়াল কেটেছে কাল ভেসে শুধুই আমার স্রোতেরই দোলায়। ও গঙ্গা তুমি চলেছ ঢেউয়ে ঢেউয়ে কোথায়? কখনো জোয়ারে আর কখনো ভাটায় জানি রয়েছ দু তীরে পাড়ায়।
Are you okay? What happened? Hello?
I don't want to do this.
What?
I don't want to do this.
What do you mean you don't want to do this?
I can't speak. My English is not good. I can express in Bangla. I can't speak. I can't do this. No.
You're doing great. Your English is just fine.
No.
I don't understand where this is coming from. I need you. I need your help on this. If we don't tell this story, who's going to do it? Listen. You've got this.
ভাবি এখন ছিল কোথায় যে যাওয়া মনে আসার তো শুধুই কি বাওয়া বুঝি নিশানা তার শুধু দিগন্তে আছে কি নেই কোনো সুখের হদিস কে জানে সেথায় ও গঙ্গা তুমি চলেছ ঢেউয়ে ঢেউয়ে কোথায় কখনো জোয়ারে আর কখনো ভাটায় জানি রয়েছ দু তীরে মানায়।
অনেক সমস্যা গেছে
বাংলাতে কি বলে আমি জানি না।
ক্রাইসিস, ইংলিশে বলে ক্রাইসিস,
হ্যাঁ।
আর বাংলাতে অভাব।
হ্যাঁ, তখন খাবার তখন অনেক খারাপ অভাব ছিল। তো তখন
লবণ সব কিছু পাওয়া গেছে, লবণ পাওয়া যায়নি, লবণ আছে।
তো তখন মনে করেন যে টাউনে সিটিতে তো অনেক কিছু একটু আলাদা থাকে ওদের ওখানে তো ফ্রিজ আছে, অনেক সুবিধা আছে। তখন তো আগেরকার দিনে মানুষের এত বেশি সবার কাছে, তো এখন যেরকম ঘরে ঘরে সবাই ফ্রিজ আছে, এখন তো ওরকম নাই। তা আপনার কোনো কিছু তখন মনে আছে যে আপনার কিভাবে চলছেন, এত কিভাবে করছেন?
সব কিছুই মনে আছে।
একটু বলেন আমাদেরকে, আমরা জানি না, আমরা তো হিস্ট্রিতে পড়ি।
যাদের মনে করো বাড়িতে ভেজিটেবল ছিল, তরু তরকারি আসছিল, ওরা তরু তরকারি পাক করছে খাইছে, আর যাদের আছে না তারা বাজার থেকে আনছে, সমস্যা হয়নি, বাজার থেকে আনতে খাচ্ছে। এরপরে ধান চাই অভাব অনটন আসছিল, তখন কারো ঘরে চাইল আসছিল না, ধান আসছিল, কুড়িয়ে জাউরিন দেখাইছে, ইয়ারিন দেখাইছে, অনেক কষ্ট গেছে তখন। এই যে কথা এখন আপনি কষ্ট হয়
সমস্যা নেই, আর আমরা কিছু জিজ্ঞেস করবো না।
কিন্তু আপনার ভাত খাইতে ভালো লাগে তো? আমার ভালো লাগে, এটাই মূল কথা।
আমি তো আগেই বললাম যে আমরা কলকাতা আর বাংলাদেশ, ভাতে বা আছে বাঙালি, এটা সবাই বলে। আমাদের ভাত মাছ না হইলে আমরা চলতে পারি না।
Why don't we start with this? How not to make rice? কিভাবে ভাত বানাবেন না?
আমি বলি, I am a very good rice cooker in my family. Sure. So, and I watch a lot of videos, okay? And best video I found, the Japanese woman showed me how to first clean the rice with like a lot of time. So I use it, and it really makes nice and nice perfect rice. And I can say proudly, I'm a very good rice maker.
Not to put loads of water, but it has to be right water.
Okay, is the room divided now?
Yes.
Completely. Okay, one second. Yeah.
So for me, I this is going to be controversial, I think, but I cook rice with lots of water, and you have to have a rolling boil, and there's a right time where you know the rice is nice, where it's starting to get glutinous, and the starch is mixing, and it's a really precise moment. If you miss that precise moment, you get sticky rice.
Absolutely. My rule is, you can put more water, it's safe. You can drain it out. But if you put less water, there's a danger. The rice would not.
Okay. I'm going to hold that. I'm going to go right up with London water.
Okay. Here it goes from someone who's been cooking rice since she was 8 years old. Okay. There are two ways of cooking rice. If you were a dummy, you put twice the amount of water. Like rice, if you are putting 1 cup of rice, it's 2 cups of water. Okay, if you are a dummy. And if you're like me, then just use your eyes to measure the water. You know how much water to put in how much rice, koto panite koto bhat, and it will come out right.
How not to cook rice is, don't use Uncle Ben's. Go for it.
In the era of Mughal period, there has been 230 years for Mughal period. After that, when British took the power, 190 years, every 10 years there was a famine. Every 10 years. So there were 19 famines. So if you don't want to cook rice, ask British to rule the subcontinent.
They definitely don't know how to cook rice, I can tell you that.
But anyway, the main point of retelling this narrative is that being well fed is quite an important part of Islam. Like, as in not like, overfeeding yourself, and I guess that's what whole Ramadan is all about. But I guess in Bangladesh, or like, in the Bengali context, rice plays a big part in that.
Yeah, because you won't be eating a smoothie. It's very unlikely, in that part of Bengal, you'll eat a smoothie.
No, you'd mainly have like snacks, like pakora or that kind of stuff, but in the night you would always eat rice.
So like rice would be the big...
But even if you're not eating rice and curries, because, it's like early in the morning, you would have like doodh bhat, like rice with mango or banana and milk.
Maybe we can work with some of that, like maybe just a doodh bhat.
And
I remember having doodh bhat.
That's a big thing here. Like, I don't know how it is for you, but especially a lot of Philippines here, they have like cream and mango and bhat.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for that. I think we'll use some of that.
There is something to be said about smell, and the English word is fragrance, but it doesn't do justice to rice, and we will say kushbu, and that's the perfect example. Kushbu. Just to listen, when that smell of rice is so perfect, you could just eat it plain without any curry.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the only way. The English word just doesn't do it justice.
But also I remember, if you make it in a pressure cooker,
Yeah.
some people make rice. I don't do it, but some people do. When the steam goes off, it's like that smell, like kushbu of rice,
Yeah.
like fill up the whole room,
Yeah.
like immediately, like you hear, so it's a sound of the
The
pressure
whistle,
cooker,
yeah.
of the
That's
whistle,
nice.
and then that immediate smell of rice.
Yeah.
I think that's a very specific smell you associate with nurture, with just like life and
Yeah. But it's important that smell, when it lingers through the house, it's almost, obviously it's dinner time.
Yeah.
It's almost telling people it's dinner, but also people are like, that's nice, and it's like a blanket that you put around you, because it's very familiar, and it's teasing the senses to eat. So you're going to eat, and it's like you're ready to. It's comforting. It's something that you know. So
it also cuts through like the smell of curry, because everything kind of goes. All you can smell is the rice, and
so there's an element where it's just it neutralizes.
It neutralizes, yeah.
I observed just in Bangladesh from the year I got married, way back in 1995. Me and my husband were coming back on the coach, and literally people were talking about how to cook a fish curry. The whole coach was talking, no, that's not how you do it. You fry the fish first, and you do this, and you do. I'm listening there, I'm going, this is hilarious. That man, those two men were talking to each other. And the whole coach is now talking about how to cook a curry. Because they go, no, but you've got to try it with this, and then this fish tastes with this, and the onions really ruin it, and you just go, wow.
Basically, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
How should we first talk about the importance of rice?
Maybe by giving free rice with torkari to the audience. Everyone notices how Bengalis are the first to go out and eat tons without a break.
We'll have to say rice with curry for everyone to understand.
But what kind of curry?
Exactly. It means nothing. Rice with curry, it's like saying pasta with sauce.
And the curry, it's always so bland.
Right? You know how I judge restaurants which serve Indian food in the UK?
How?
I look in.
And if they're white, you don't enter. Thanks for saying that. Even I have done the same. White people eating Indian curry is white curry. It isn't curry anymore.
It's never Indian anyway. It's a genre of food that's packaged as Indian and marketed to white people.
Such a hard thing, isn't it? Giving food a nationality.
I agree. You know, I love the chole bhature from Nagina in Ilford. They remind me of the ones I had in Delhi. Turns out, the people who run it in Delhi are originally from Pakistan. The recipe's from Lahore.
We call it Lahori chole bhature.
Yeah, Bengali rice. I suppose rice should just be rice.
I suppose so.
Anyway, should we get back to the tutorial?
Oh, why do I always forget? Where were we?
The water.
Yes. So, we make sure that the water is clear.
And then we pour the water. I feel like we're stuck on just washing rice.
I agree. I'm going to do this next steps now, and I'm going to do it right away.
How does the water feel?
feels good. It sounds good as well. It feels like it's washing away much more than dirt on the rice. The rice soaking the water, becoming fuller, like a fruit ripening slowly but surely.
Like a woman, becoming whole, becoming herself, standing in front of the mirror, wearing a bindi, telling herself, I am a woman.
হাজার বছর ধরে আমি পথ হাঁটিতেছি পৃথিবীর পথে, সিংহল সমুদ্র থেকে নিশীথের অন্ধকারে মালয় সাগরে। অনেক ঘুরেছি আমি, বিম্বিসার অশোকের ধূসর জগতে, সেখানে ছিলাম আমি আরও দূর অকারে বিদর্ভ নগরে। আমি ক্লান্ত প্রাণ এক, চারিদিকে জীবনের সমুদ্র সফেন। আমার দুদণ্ড শান্তি দিয়েছিল নাটোরের বনলতা সেন। চুল তার কবেকার অন্ধকার বিদিশার নিশা, মুখ তার শ্রাবস্তির কারুকার্য। অতি দূর সমুদ্রের পর হাল ভেঙে যে নাবিক হারায়েছে দিশা, সবুজ ঘাসের দেশ যখন সে চোখে দেখে দারুচিনি দ্বীপের ভিতর, তেমনই দেখেছি তারে অন্ধকারে। বলেছে সে, এতদিন কোথায় ছিলেন? পাখির নীড়ের মতো চোখ তুলে নাটোরের বনলতা সেন। সমস্ত দিনের শেষে শিশিরের শব্দের মতন সন্ধ্যা আসে, ডানার রৌদ্রের গন্ধ মুছে ফেলে চিল। পৃথিবীর সব রং নিভে গেলে পাণ্ডুলিপি করে আয়োজন, তখন গল্পের তরে জোনাকির রঙে ঝিলমিল। সব পাখি ঘরে আসে, সব নদী ফুরায় এ জীবনের সব লেনদেন। থাকে শুধু অন্ধকার, মুখোমুখি বসিবার বনলতা সেন।
Mine too. Actually, growing up in a large family as the only girl was difficult.
Mine was lonely, not difficult.
That's because you're a man.
Whom do you remember fondly though?
My mother.
Same. She was quite neurotic about me, but she loved me very much.
My mother went to work when
always worked. She'd always cook for so many people in the household.
So you're a well-fed baby then?
A well-fed one.
I joke that I learned to cook because my mother wouldn't cook at all. Or she cooked so badly that we knew we had to learn to cook just to enjoy food in the house.
So, did you learn when you were young? For me, it took a very long time.
Such a man.
You know, only after I left the city, a North Indian taught me how to measure water. Can you believe that?
Well, I'm not Indian, but it still sounds like a shame.
It was.
Sometimes I wonder how she feels.
Who?
My mother. How she feels about being a bad mother. She was expected to do so much when she was as old as I am now. 2 sons and a daughter, just as she's turned 30. And not just her, but all of them. All of her colleagues. The friendships they formed, the fallouts they had. It might sound quite banal, but I'm sure that was a very new social experience for that generation. The middle classes were struggling, and the men were just coming to terms with the fact that women could go out and work and not have to do the household chores. The generation of bad wives, bad mothers.
Well, there's never really a circumstances for mothers to be bad mothers. She can stay at home and still not be good enough.
Sometimes, I wonder if we're taking borrowed time from our mothers.
Meaning?
Like, we're leading the lives they would have liked to lead, but couldn't.
Maybe they're living it through us.
Maybe. You know, this one time, and this is actually funny, I was quite thin when I was young. Not because I didn't have a good appetite or was malnourished or anything like that. But I think my mother felt she wasn't doing enough.
Well, Bengali moms, they're obsessed with golu chubby babies.
And I didn't fit that body type.
Yeah, worrying about body types and everything.
Anyway, so she fed me potatoes, ghee, and rice for a whole month. Imagine the trauma.
All hail chubby golu babies!
Did you have that rice eating ritual though?
When do you have that?
You know, when you first eat rice.
And when is that?
I don't know, maybe when you're 1 or 2.
So I can't recollect it now.
Obviously you can't recollect it. I meant, do you have any photos of it?
I don't think it was such a big thing in our family. I mean, it wasn't anything important to be photographed at least.
But I remember your nun saying...
Yeah, Amra bhate mache Bengali.
Yeah. You know, one of these photos, it's of someone I was close to when I was younger. My mother's colleagues were so welcoming of children. I spent many hours in her workplace. It's where I first learned about desktop computers. In the 90s, they weren't so readily available.
Yeah, desktops. They were such a rarity.
One day, I'll write an ode to the desktop computer.
But what about her? Your mother's friend.
Thanks for reminding me. I keep digressing. Where was I? So, my mum tells me she didn't have any children. And she died of heartbreak. I wonder what it means to die of heartbreak. To see your other colleagues get something from their marriage that you don't get from your own. I wish I'd known about her earlier. My mum was really sad when she passed maybe a love?
That's a verb, not a noun.
What do you want me to say? A flock of mothers?
Okay, let's settle for company of mothers.
You know, sometimes I think about all that aloo that I ate.
Yeah, did you grow big?
What do you mean?
I mean, did you become chubbier after 1 month of rice and aloo shinte?
Yeah, of course.
What? Seriously?
No, of course not. Like this graph. We only think we produce a lot of rice, but we don't really produce that much at all.
What? We don't?
Like it says in this book. The images of abundance have no real magnitude, however, and it is worth noticing that the output of paddy per aerial unit probably has been lower in the Bengal Delta than most other paddy growing regions of Asia. Table 2 gives an estimate of the production of paddy in kilograms per hectare among 6 South and Southeast Asian countries over a 12-year period. Even among the latter nations, where cultivation is largely traditional, the output per aerial unit in Bengal was only median. It was also, over the indicated period, stagnant.
Oh, don't bring hard statistics to the fore now.
We can't keep looking away forever.
And how does it say the importance of so much rice in our culture?
So, it says we have enough to sustain us. We have enough to feed everyone.
Oh, that explains it. So we were happy with what we had.
And yet, we had a famine. If we had enough, why did we have a famine? When are we going to address that?
হে মহাজীবন, আর এ কাব্য নয়, এবার কঠিন কঠোর গদ্যে আনো। পদলালিত্য ঝঙ্কার মুছে যাক, গদ্যের কড়া হাতুড়িকে আজ হানো। প্রয়োজন নেই কবিতার স্নিগ্ধতা, কবিতা তোমায় দিলাম আজকে ছুটি। ক্ষুধার রাজ্যে পৃথিবী গদ্যময়, পূর্ণিমা চাঁদ যেন ঝলসানো রুটি। January 1943.
Food problem, very serious. Attempt to get emergency supply through Director of Civil Supplies in Calcutta has failed. Position in Chittagong town extremely serious, bad as price of rice has been kept below prevailing price in Mofussil.
10th February 1943.
Price of rice in Chittagong and Tipperary rising.
25th February 1943.
Starvation spreading from towns to villages.
27th February 1943.
It is immediately necessary to start test relief works.
29th May 1943.
Many people are starving in Chittagong district owing to high prices. First gruel kitchen started in Chittagong.
11th June 1943.
Cases of death from starvation throughout Chittagong.
28th June 1943.
Number of destitutes in Chittagong town increased. 11 deaths in streets.
Chittagong, in present-day Bangladesh, but then a part of the Bengal province, was the first casualty of the war. It was the first major city for the Allied forces to launch military offensives against Japan, in what is known as the Burma Campaign. In April and May 1942, the Imperial Japanese Army carried out raids.
And by February, the prices were already rising.
The administration failed to control the prices, which was Chittagong's problem from 1942, then became a problem for all of Bengal by 1943.
How do you think we can show the starkness of the ordeal?
I don't know. I think we should focus on other things as well. Other things which were important to us, our history.
What, like the August Revolution?
Yes, the August Revolution. Even after he officially called off the protest after an incident of violence, the people continued to take violent action against the British.
In Medinipur, in the southwest of what is present-day West Bengal, in India, the Tamilak national government dismantled the British civil administration and started their own government. There were violent skirmishes with the police. Many died. At least 45 people were killed by police gunfire between August 1942 and February 1943, including the revered women revolutionary Matangini Hazra.
Gandhi of course called off the protest because it did not go well with his version of non-violence. The first scene of Bijon Bhattacharya's play, Nobanno, starts with a domestic scene of a family in Aminpur, which is a parable for Medinipur.
And
Thunder.
Panda.
Panda.
Panda. Panda. Panda.
Panda. Panda.
Panda. Panda. Panda.
Panda.
Panda.
Panda.
Panda. Panda. Panda.
Panda.
Panda.
Panda.
Panda. Panda.
না শরম ইজ্জত আর রাখলে না মেয়ে মানুষ শরম ইজ্জত আর রাখলে না শরম ইজ্জত আর কিছু রাখলে না মেয়ে মানুষ শরম ইজ্জত আর কিছু রাখলে না রাখলে না
ইজ্জত ইজ্জত দেখছে আর যেখানে জীবনটাই বেইজ্জতের সেখানে সেখানে আবার কিসের মেয়ে মানুষের ইজ্জত কিন্তু কিন্তু কিন্তু
ওই কিন্তু সব কথার ভেতরে শুধু কিন্তু হ্যাঁ ওই কিন্তুটার গলাটা টিপে আমি যদি টুটিটা ছিঁড়ে না ফেলি একেবারে শেষ করে ফেলি দাদা আমার অন্তরটা একেবারে জ্বলে গেছে রে কুঞ্জু আমার অন্তরটা একেবারে জ্বলে গেছে
দুটো ছেলের সাথে মানুষটা একেবারে পাগলই হয়ে গেল
না পাগল নয় কুঞ্জু প্রধান পাগল নয় ওই তো ঠিক এখনই তো উচিত এটা না না মহা ভুল হচ্ছে প্রধান পাগল নয়
আই তো কি সর্বনাশ
ইনপুরের কলঙ্ক ইনপুরের কলঙ্ক তোরা কিছু হচ্ছিস কিছু হতিস নে কিছু হতিস নে তোরা এগিয়ে যা তোরা এগিয়ে যা তোরা এগিয়ে যা হটিস নে পিছু হটিস নে এগিয়ে যা তোরা এগিয়ে যা হটিস নে পিছু হটিস নে তোরা এগিয়ে যা বাবা এগিয়ে যা তোরা হ্যাঁ এগিয়ে যা
It's quite dramatic. Do you think it's possible to show that on stage?
It would be quite melodramatic too.
I love melodrama. enough to make the deaf hear. Maybe we should announce it like normal speech, or maybe we should bring a placard that says,
I wish all scenography was as simple.
I wish so too. Anyway, we don't really know why the local administration couldn't prepare for the famine. The Congress accused the administration, saying withholding the information was deliberate, and the subdivisional officer of Hamlets said that the sabotage of telegraph poles during the quit unit protest at Hamlets and Contai prevented the information to be relayed to the police stations. Does it even matter? I mean, even if they had known, what could they have done? We still face ecological consequences even today.
Yes. The cyclone and the tidal wave then claimed 14,443 people, with almost 11,000 deaths in Contai itself.
And let's not forget animals. 188,000 of Midnapur's dairy cattle drowned.
The consequences lasted way after the actual cyclone. People who cut wood to make a living had to change their livelihood. There were hardly any trees left to cut, or at least hardly as much as there used to be.
And then, of course, the policies of the war.
The rice denial policy. And of course the bourse denial scheme too. All done to protect us from Japanese invasion, which made thousands of livelihoods defer.
It's hard for policymakers to understand that sometimes these policies do more harm than good, even when the intention is good. Rice denial allowed agents outside the government administration to purchase surplus grains from warehouses. The official figures show that only 40,000 tons were collected, but it's likely that the agents used the grain in the black market. Much more grain was stowed away.
The boat denial scheme was launched in May 1942 and in process until March 1943. Small boats, which carried passengers up to 10 people, were not allowed to operate in Chittagong, Naukhali, Tipera, Bakarganj, Khulna, the 24 Parganas, and the Midnapur district. While the military market allowed for great prospects involved in organized labor, the countryside was devastated.
It did lead to a major relief effort by the colonial government, starting from October 1942 all the way to March 1943. But why create a situation of such unrest in the first place?
And then expect reverence in return. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for giving us relief.
Thank you for giving us the famine.
Prices rose for all commodities because of the war. The British had lost Burma, now Myanmar, in April 1942. The rice stocks, which would usually come from Burma in case of shortages, were no longer available.
The price of rice was twice the price of pre-war rice.
Soon we have famine,
deaths related to famine,
cholera,
dysentery.
It's so nice to see you after so long. I'm so happy that you're here with me today, honestly. I've missed you so much. Like, I can't believe it's taken us this long to write in a while. Honestly, I can just say I'm so glad that you bought your signature coffee cake because I've missed it so much. Yeah, it's so good, isn't it? But I could talk for England, honestly. Everyone dig in whilst it's hot. you're going to have 3 rotis today.
I'm
Yeah?
already ready.
Make sure he gets it
No,
because
no,
you know
no.
how we do it in this household, okay? No one's sacking on the food front.
You want the rotis?
Yes, please. Yeah, you know how we do it. Start with her first. Thank you so much. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
I did not feel like proceeding any further. I seemed to forget where we were going. I began to doubt if we would come across any living creature, even if we went to the ends of the earth. It was now evening, and a few stars could be seen in the sky. The autumnal fog had shut off whatever light was coming from the evening sky, nor could any lights be seen in the village huts across the burning ghat. At this time of the year, pious housewives put up a light in the sky at the end of a pole in honor of their dead ancestors. The sound of conch shells and bells lend a peculiar charm to the evening. Azan sounds from every mosque. Tappers get busy collecting the juice from the date trees. But here, it was all quiet. Not a living soul could be seen anywhere. Not a footstep disturbed the dust on the village path.
Soon we have
famine,
deaths related to famine,
cholera.
dysentery.
2 years later, we killed each other.
You know, there's one thing in the history that bothers me the most. Well, you know, after the government opened up the grill kitchen, people had to queue for food. You know what bothered them the most?
I don't know. What?
It was not a call to arms to change their destiny. No, there were some incidents there, but largely it was non-violent. And a man was standing in the queue, and this is from this archive. The Bengali says,
In the days of the British, before the famine, families had prestige. Now the families have none. During the famine, caste distinctions collapsed, and everyone sat together in the grill kitchen. Before, there had been justice and free trade. Afterwards, there was none. Nowadays, everyone is for himself. The qualities of saris, duttis, life, everything was once better, but no longer. So, he cared more about having to mix with other castes than the actual famine. Wow. I guess even we were divided.
we were divided. That's the harsh truth.
2 years later, we killed each other. I wonder what could have been done to prevent it.
I don't know.
আমি grow up হইছি আমি example this place is mine and that place is Hindu. All Hindus, my daddy, my dada, my kaku, my and everyone say. And if dadura anything make special something, give me. Chatura anything, give me. Because my dad and my mom married long time, 14 years. After 14 years married, then my brother is born. Then long time I'm born. That's why everyone love me and love my brother. হিন্দু মুসলিম সবাই আর আমরা বড় হিন্দু সবাই মাঝামা আমার বাড়ি হিন্দুদের বাড়ি আমার দাদা এটা বাট সামনে হিন্দু সাইডে হিন্দু সব থেকে
আপনার ওখানে তো মানে আপনার কথা না তো অনেক মিলন ছিল
হ্যাঁ মিলন অনেক মিলন অনেক
এখনো কি ওরকম আছে নাকি
আমরা এলাকায় না
অবশ্যই আপনার নিউজে অনেক মানুষের সমস্যা হয়
না না আমরা কোনো সমস্যা কোনোদিন হইতে না দাদুরা এত মায়া করতো আমারে লাভ করতো শাশুরা আন্টিরা এত লাভ হতো
Come in. Hi, morning.
How are you?
Okay, how are you?
I'm alright.
Good, have a seat.
Yeah, so Nick, as you know, I'm trying to do this play. I'm sorry this wasn't part of the project initially, but I need help with something though.
Sure, it'd be good though to sort of establish when you think you'll be able to get the next bit of writing done though.
Sure, we will get to that.
Yeah,
I
okay.
do need some help
Okay.
though with the play.
Sure.
I was thinking, I'm trying to sort of do this bit where, you know, in Queen Mary everybody is very experimental about the kind of theatres they do, and I'm worried that mine will be sort of like a general like narrative of the famine. So could you tell me how to make something like how do we make post-traumatic theatre? How is it done?
How do we make post-traumatic theatre? Well, I suppose it might be about thinking about the theatrical situation that you're in rather than the dramatic situation. So is there something which the audience will experience which is not just about whatever drama is going on between the characters in the story, but it's something that is going on which is to do with their presence in the theatre.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I don't understand what this means. What is dramatic? What is theatrical?
Think of dramatic as having to do with represented action. So in a scene, in a play, we might say that what is dramatic is the interaction between two characters in a scene.
So should I sort of put Churchill in and just beat the shit out of him? Is that a good scene? Is that post-traumatic enough?
It's a good idea. I'm not sure whether it's post-traumatic. I mean, the question of how you did it would be what would make it post-traumatic or not.
If I punch him, is that post-traumatic? If I swear at him, is that dramatic?
They could both be dramatic and they could both be post-traumatic.
But you just said that if we sort of do something, then that's post-traumatic, as opposed to saying something. So if I beat the shit out of him, that's post-traumatic.
No.
If I swear at him, it's dramatic.
No, I think it would be more about how you present either the scene of you swearing at Churchill or the scene of you punching Churchill.
And which one is dramatic and which one is post-traumatic?
They could both be dramatic and they could both be post-traumatic.
Give me an example. I don't understand.
Well, for example, if you walked in and said, imagine, ladies and gentlemen, that this person here is Winston Churchill, and then hit him hard in the face, that would be tending more towards a kind of post-traumatic scene than a scene in which the audience has already been convinced that this is Winston Churchill and that you are you, and then you punch him.
Okay, so if I say like, this is Churchill and just like smack you on the face now and record this, then will that be post-traumatic? And I say that this is a scene where, you know, the brown oppressed sort of rises up and speaks up against the empire.
Yes, and particularly if you then also said, and by the way, audience, this is a scene in which the brown oppressed rise up and strike against the empire.
Okay, but that's so much work. I don't think... See, this is the thing, like, I needed to make it post-traumatic because if I don't make it, I know I'll fail, because in Queen Mary, everything is sort of post-traumatic and post-everything. And I know you guys look down upon us, like the people who do dramatic theatre. Like there's a no, I know it.
It depends which people you're talking about.
No, I think people look down upon. People look down upon that.
There are some of us who enjoy Ibsen.
I don't think so. But it's again Ibsen done in a post-traumatic way. That's
No,
what I'm saying.
no.
It has to be.
No, I would very happily go and witness Ibsen being staged in the most Ibsenish way possible.
I don't think that's the case. So anyway, this is the thing. If I don't make it post-traumatic, then I won't get the funding for the next bit to develop my play. And you're not helping me do it.
Oh, excuse me, I must take that call.
Okay. Do you wanna take the call?
Thank you very much.
Do you want me to leave?
No, it's okay. Hello. 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 WhatsApp audio connecting, not connecting. That's it's probably an EduRoam problem.
I think you've got to turn on your mobile data and not Wi-Fi, because the Wi-Fi here is shit.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
But there was a call coming through WhatsApp. Mobile data's on. Take EduRoam off. See what happens. If anyone calls again.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I thought this was pretty post-traumatic.
I thought so too. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
See, this is the thing. Like, I don't think people will understand if I do it in this way. So I need to make it sort of just generally how it's done. And you're not helping me. Like, apart from that scene where I say this particular, like this character is Churchill and therefore I punch him. As opposed to somebody already playing Churchill and then one character goes up. How about what if the audience comes and punches someone?
Again, I mean, I suppose I think that that also sounds like quite a good idea. I'm not sure that it's necessarily post-traumatic, but I wouldn't be hung up on the idea that post-traumatic is the be-all and end-all of experimental performance.
But I think that's what people in like the theatre industry thinks, and I have to get funding for my play, and that's the main point that we're trying to get across. Like, I don't think you understand, because you'll say that everything is fine, and then when it comes to funding, you know, you white people, like, I won't get it because it'll be like, oh, this is some kind of old traditional theatre, and nobody gets like, I mean, we are so forward and we are so past this thing.
Well, but if you look at what does actually get funding in the UK, you'd be hard pressed to find that much post-traumatic theatre.
That is true. But I'm talking about, seriously, in Queen Mary. And I don't think anyone will. I'm also wondering, so with this idea then, what happens next? So I punch Churchill. Like, would that, by the way, like hurt your feelings? Because I'm worried that, you know, people are soft here and their feelings might be hurt.
Well, it hurt my feelings to have Churchill punched.
Yeah, because
Not in the
he's
least,
white.
no,
He's
no.
white and you're white.
No, I think I'm very happy to see Churchill's statue desecrated in Westminster, for example. So no, I'd have no.
That's the problem. You say no here, and then during the board meeting, I won't. I'm worried that it won't get a funding. I won't pass my viva. This guy.
But hold on a minute. Churchill punching is all the rage at Queen Mary these days. It's the kind of thing that.
But if a white person does it, if you do it, then it's fine. But if I do it, then there'll be a problem.
I'm not sure.
I think there will be a problem. Anyway, I'm gonna go now.
Okay.
I don't think I got it. But anyway, thanks for that.
Good luck.
I'll probably try and have somebody punch someone.
Get some punching done.
Yeah, get
I'd
some
say.
punching done.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, Shruti.